How's it going, everybody? We're just setting up the live stream. I figured I'd get a few minutes early, make sure the camera, everything was working. Doing something a little bit different. Not using my big media camera, using a smaller one. But a good tripod so I don't have to hold it so it's not a weird angle. Enjoying a cigar. A little bourbon today. It was a good day on the range yesterday, so kind of celebrations. We'll give it a few minutes here to crank up and let everybody know that it's live. Hopefully the notification's going out. As usual, if anybody's got any questions, doesn't matter, the topics, besides what we're going to talk about now, go ahead and throw them up and let us know. If you want to grab your AUG barrel so you can follow along or see what I'm talking about, it may help, but I've got one. We can talk about it, and I'll show you all the settings, everything over here. So should be able to follow right along. Let me make sure line chats are visible. Yeah, hopefully you guys start typing. Somebody's here. If somebody asks a question or says hello here, I can make sure it's going to pop up and show me. That way it's not hidden in the background. I hope everybody's doing well for a Sunday. For those that got to go out and enjoy the weather yesterday, it was nice. Decent amount of wind, but nothing too ungodly. At least here in my neck of the woods. I know there was a rookie ELR match yesterday. Or actually, I think it's today. They're dealing with 40 and 60 mile an hour winds. So that'll be interesting to see what type of points and scores. I know there was a standard match and then there's a rookie match. I think it's Cedar Point in Kansas. Oh. Yeah. Keep saying we get some people that are coming in, but I guess people are coming in, going out. So it should be getting close. Let's see here. And one more minute officially. Hold on, guys. I'm checking here. Got a couple of notifications. Sorry, Mason. Okay. Cool. I can see the chats. Hello. Somebody had typed or put in somewhere that they were getting ready to board a plane. So sorry for the bad timing, but the video will be up for you to watch a little bit later. I don't know if any of you guys are big cigar smokers, but if you like a fine cigar, the one I'm smoking today is a Ferio Atego, and this is like my newest favorite one. And this one is a Elegance. Just in case if you guys like a fine cigar. All right. Well, it's 3:30. I told everybody that we'd hop on, so hopefully it's out there and you guys will enjoy the video. Alrighty. Well, I was out yesterday doing some AUG shooting, playing with, and testing. I have put it out there in the past, and here recently, with kind of getting into the Reddit forums, there is a lot of talk of everybody trying to find suppressor gas plugs or what suppressor to use with their AUG. And not to say that I've been inundated with it, but I literally always see this post. It's got to be the very, very top post besides AUG triggers suck. Well, there's right and wrong end of both of those. For the trigger not being well, there's mods to make it better, but it will never ever be an AR trigger. For anybody that sees this video in the future or that just wants it from somebody that trains as one that's shot AUGs for years, I can very, very much tell you there's no amount of modding working as of 2022 to make that trigger an AR two-stage or single-stage trigger. It will never happen, not in that platform, as of now with the technology. Now, can you get a really good combat trigger, regular service guy trigger? We're talking something in the 7-pound range? Yes. There's mods, there's ways to adjust the trigger bars. Granted, I'm not a big fan of the Ratworks Steyr. I think my modification for free, a little bit of your time, will save you $100. Does it help? In a microscopical sense, it will. So that helps with the trigger. So getting into the suppressor thing. Guys, I've got videos you can go through the channel. Specifically look, at this point in time, look to my annual range day number 3. You'll actually see us running full auto AUGs, semi-auto AUGs with suppressors. We were using dead air suppressors at the event, and that's what we're going to talk about on 2 different factors. One of what type of suppressor that you should look for. We're to give you an idea to answer that question when everybody asks like what suppressor to use. Is there one better than another? I'm going to help kind of guide you in that direction. The second one is going to be the suppressor gas plug. So everybody's always asking, where do you find one? The best way to find a gas suppressor plug is Steyr USA, V1 Tactical, and there's a third one. That's not it. V1. What's the other one? I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head. It's like Guns USA. It's basically like a gun broker, a big national account out of the Georgia or South Alabama, kind of like Gun Prime. They sell a ton of AUGs, but I know V1 Tactical. They're like one of the biggest dealers right now, or importers that are getting AUG and component parts. So those are like your best places to start getting on a waiting list or looking. Besides Steyr arms themselves. If you hop on any type of the trading platforms, rather if it's Gun Broker, Gun Prime, Gun Spot, Arms List, or just any of the Reddit posts or the forum groups, somebody has one, but it depends what you're going to pay for it. Normally a suppressor plug costs about $100, roughly. Depending on demand, price and those things drive demand and drive cost up. But if someone's trying to sell you one for $200 or $300, then just bide your time unless you absolutely have to have one that you're willing to swallow that. I saw one the other day. Someone was trying to get like $350 for it. Just don't. They come out like every 90 days. There's a batch. It seems like for the last like 4 or 5 years, they sorry, dealing with a little sweat. They come to the market. So just bide your time. I mean, they come in 200-300 lot increments. It's just like getting a 20-inch AUG barrel or an 18-inch one. You just gotta bide your time, wait for them to come out. When they do, have the money to buy one, get on the list because they do go quick. So that's kind of my spiel of if you're looking to find one. Now, if you want to modify one, this video is going to help. I've got measurements. Bookmark this video. It will help you. In doing this, though, you're going to modify your AUG barrel suppressor plug. This will be for a specific task. So when I explain this, just remember this is going to be a mod, but you're going to tune your barrel, your gas system, to your suppressor. You cannot imagine which one you're going to get, like the one you physically own that you are going to run on the gun. You're going to modify and marry them together. So that's what I'm going to explain and hopefully help you with. I know the guys at Arid Engineering, specifically Mr. Ian. I mean, I know he's in Reddit. I know he's on these posts, giving the info, telling people like you can drill, you can modify. He's got a lot of that information from myself, from a few of the other engineer people, other people that are in the industry. We've kind of talked about it, and I've shown this idea. I've shown this mod for years. Just it seems like it's gotten lost, or I've never put it out there on the internet on, how to marry these two together. So we'll get that going. First and foremost, we're going to talk suppressors. You guys are going to want to know what thread pattern your barrel's in. I've already put out information on Facebook, on my page, so Facebook, Instagram. If you type into Google and search TnSteyr, you can go over to my published articles at WordPress or out in magazines, or you can type in Armor's tips and tricks for AUGs. You're going to come across my article that I wrote showing the differences on how to identify barrels strictly by the original flash hider and tulip, or if they don't have a flash hider, if it's just a raw barrel, you'll be able to identify with the barrel just by the tip of what the thread looks like. You don't have to put a nut and bolt on it. You don't have to go try to find a flash hider. You can literally identify the barrels the way that they're built. So that information's out there. That I would tell you is step one. So this particular barrel is 13 by 1 left hand. It is a European spec'd barrel. It was done here in the United States. It is a 2018 production barrel, but it does have the Euro thread. In figuring out your thread pitch, figure out, are we going to direct thread a suppressor on here, or are we going to do a QD system, a flash hider? This particular one, you guys here, show you, this is the Dead Air chemo flash hider, and it is AUG. This is pin and weldable, and I'll discuss that at the end of the video on if you want to SBR or cut and pin and weld one of these barrels. I'll explain that too. This one here has the ability to accept chemo for dead air suppressors for QD on and off. I'm going to enjoy my cigar as we talk. So, you figured out what thread pitch, if you're going to run a muzzle device, or if you're going to direct thread. That'll help you right there. In picking a suppressor for your AUG, pick the one that you want. I mean, if you're going to, preferably not titanium, you're going to want to go with, like, a good stainless steel can. Depending on the size of the can will determine if you can get away with not even using a gas suppressor plug. Do you need one, or can you do this mod for it? So currently I run, and normally in the videos that you guys will see me, I'm using Dead Air, a Nomad 30, a Nomad L, still a 30 caliber can. They're 1 point. Hold on, I'm trying to remember this off my head. Somebody fact check me. A Nomad L is like 8.4 inches long with a outer diameter of like 1.78 inches. The Nomad 30 is like 6.2 inches long with the same outer diameter. I'm gonna have a video out that shows this barrel using the Sandman K, and we made it work. It doesn't like to work, and I'll explain that. So, I prefer to use 30 caliber cans due to the internal volume and the baffle design. And this gets into what can you have. If you're trying to figure out a can to work with it, if you're going to run a dedicated can, then buy a dedicated can. If you're going to marry, your bolt action, your AR, and your AUG together, then get a can that does it all. And that's going to determine how much back pressure is on the gun, the internal flow of the baffle designs. Each company is different, and these are things that nobody, at least that I see when I explain this to people, nobody ever considers. They just think a can's a can. They're all the same. They're not. We actually ran 3 different cans yesterday with a friend of the channel, and all of them performed differently. They all sounded good, but the difference in back pressures on the diameter of the can and the flow of the can, and we really tried to stay all within that like 6-inch design. We had a Nomad, well, granted, the cans we were using, we had a Nomad L, had a Nomad, had a Yankee Hill can, had, think the other one was like a Surefire. I think there was a. I know they had a titanium can. So each one of those performed differently on the gun. And granted, I was running 9mm. I've done 5.56, and I was just using a Dead Air Sandman K. The other thing you're going to think about is also on your can size. Smaller is not always better, and bigger is not always best. You've got to figure that out, and the best way to do it, go find somebody. Basically, I made the joke earlier in a post. Friends with benefits, friends that have cans. See if you can borrow one, hear them, see what they sound like. 5.56 is a pain in the butt to suppress, and then you're getting into the piston gun. You're getting into a bullpup that just doesn't really want to be suppressed. It's not the best host in the world, but it is doable. So that'll give you an idea of like choosing a can, what to think about. I can't say there's a wrong option, but there's definitely better options than others. I would totally recommend, as much as I like Dead Air cans, do not buy a Sandman K and put it on the AUG. I mean, it's not hearing safe. I'm going to have video. It functioned, it worked, but it's not as good as it can be. Comparing a Sandman K to a Nomad, the Nomad sounded so much better. Putting a Nomad L on this thing was even better. So the volume of the can determines, for me, for what I can hear, the way I feel it, and I'm not a can expert, but I really like that larger Nomad 30 design. So there's that. Hopefully that'll help you pick out a can. Might have let this go a little bit too long. Give me just a second. Let's see. Okay, well, someone just said they bought from V1. I mean, I don't know them personally. I have messaged them, talked to them, and I know they had barrels the other day, and they're just a big dealer, and it seems like they've got some really good customer service, let alone inventory for the Steyr market. Just what you guys need to see. Light a cigar on video. Let's see. How are they able to get barrels from no one else? Okay, so on the barrel side, just to quickly answer that question, Steyr had a allotment. Actually, they ordered. It's not really a trade secret or anything. You hear through the grapevine. They put a standing order in. They told Steyr that they would take, 500 barrels. I don't know. Who knows how many they truly wanted. But they got an allotment, and they paid for them in advance and said, as soon as you can get us barrels, we want to sell them. Let alone that they're a dealer for Steyr. So when they did this last production run, they already had a standing order in. That's how they had barrels. And they were taking, I think they were taking deposits, or they were putting people on waiting list, and as soon as they were available, they went down that pecking order list for where they're at. If you want to get one in today's market, I don't think there's any actual new retailer that's going to have one. You're strictly going to find it on the open market. So, I mean, typical, any place they trade in fun sticks, Gun Broker, Gun Prime, Gun Spot, Arms List, those types of deals, you'll find one there. The forums, the Steyr clubs and stuff, just you can ask, you can put, you're always looking. I get people all the time that message me that have standing orders that they're looking for stuff, and when I come across it or have access to it, I go down that list, and first come, first serve, I start, making phone calls, or I'll text and say, hey, I know where this is located at. It's kind of what we do at the channel, and it's how we afford the channel is, finding where stuff's at, putting people in contact with each other. So. Alright, so we're going to talk about how to mod your system. So just to keep stuff simple, like I said, we're not going to do the futures. I'm thinking of this can or that can, because I can't answer what these measurements are going to be. This is going to be for your own homework. This is going to be a DIY how to make your gun work with your can. So, first and foremost, take your can, put it on the gun, put it into regular, standard gas setting, and shoot the gun. You're not gonna. Okay, when I say you're not gonna blow it up, means as long as you don't have a baffle strike, you don't have bad ammo, like the gun functions the way it's supposed to, and all you're doing is adding a can to it. Which definitely, whenever you put a can on any gun, run a alignment rod, which is basically it looks like a big cleaning rod. Run it down the barrel, out the can, make sure it doesn't hit nothing, no obstructions. So, I get a lot of people asking if, they put a can on here, it's going to overgas it, will it blow it up? I've never seen one happen. What's going to happen is the thing's going to act like it's in grenade mode, trying to launch a grenade. It's not going to cycle, it's going to shoot one round and turn the rifle into a giant bolt action rifle. That's all it's going to do. It's no more pressure system or anything else is, putting this thing into grenade mode. So, with that being said, standard gas mode, regular gas, put your can on there, shoot it, see if your gun likes it, see if it'll cycle. You'd be surprised how many guns it'll cycle. It might be a little gassy. When you mean gassy, what you're going to be looking for is right at the ejection port, because your face is so close, you're going to get extra gas, you're going to get a little sulfur smell. You may get the roll of smoke, depending on what your weather conditions are. Shoot it, see what it does. You'll know instantly if it's going to work or not, because if it's overgassed too much, it's going to push the bolt so far backwards as it goes forward, it's not going to cycle the next round. It's never going to be undergassed. You're worried about the overgassing of it. If that's a problem and it doesn't want to work, you can switch to adverse and see if it likes that better. Normally switching to adverse, because that's a smaller diameter hole, because it's wanting to put more gas to run the system, doesn't work. So standard is pretty much the test bed. If it doesn't work in standard, then we need to go to the next option. And since buying another can to see if that's going to work or testing it, that ain't going to happen. They're too expensive. So we're going to talk real quick about gas settings and where they're at and how to rotate this, because I get a lot of people that are confused of how this gas system works. So I'll put this down for a second. On your AUG, if you go get your barrel or follow along, we're going to put it in standard gas. We're always going to look for this ball. So, my barrel, I'm sorry, the camera might be a little bit backwards, so you'll have to kind of follow. That ball sticking straight up, right here at the very, very first little divot mark, right? Alright, so there's this hole, and then there's this divot, okay? So this very first divot, this is standard gas. That hole is just under 5/64 when it's factory. Sorry, I did not write down that measurements, but I've got my cheat sheet. It's under a 5/64 diameter, and that's your standard gas. You want to go to adverse. You're going to push down on your ears, and you're going to rotate, basically, I'm trying to think here correctly, clockwise. So it will be one turn to the right. See, we moved the big ball from where it was at the little divot. Now we're at the big divot. All right, your gas here is a very, very tiny little hole. I mean, literally like a 1 millimeter diameter hole. That's adverse. You'll notice this hole down here at the bottom we'll just call it at 6 o'clock, is not open. Okay, it's just this big top hole. Don't worry about this one. I'll explain what this one is in a minute, because everybody gets confused about this one. So when you rotate this, you'll see a big hole open up. I'll go back to it. Right here at the top, you're gonna see, right now you're gonna see mine. It just looks like a big black hole. You don't see anything. All right, that's your standard. Sorry, I can't do it left-handed. We're gonna go to adverse. You guys see there's just that little bitty pinhole in there? Okay, that's your adverse. That's how tiny that hole is. You can see all that silver? That's what it's plugging up to give you more gas to run the system. Now, if you want to put this thing in grenade mode, you're actually going to rotate it now counterclockwise in towards the barrel. 3 turns. Or you're actually just going to go 1. Your second turn, that ball lines up with the barrel, and that removes your gas plug. You're going to go 1 past it until the ball is lined up right here where it says GR. That's grenade mode. If you look at the very top of your exhaust piston hole, it is now closed off. This one down here at the bottom is now open. That's venting all of your gas out of the piston assembly. Alright, that vents it all as it comes down. Now we're going to explain what this second hole here is. When the piston moves inside, it fills with gas, like an expansion chamber. The piston goes back, and any leftover gas gets vented out this hole. Well, it's dumping like 90, I think it's 80, like 82% or 85% out the bottom. What cycles that pushes this piston back, if there's enough to do it, if you're depending on how worn out your spring is, will vent out this hole. That's all this is. This is basically the overflow gas hole. It will vent from here when this system goes backwards, resets your rods, your charge handle, and then it goes forward. So there's all your plugs. This bottom exhaust hole, hold on, let me get over here so I can get it right here, is about 95% clear, almost a complete flow through. That particular hole is 7/64 of in diameter. So if you take a drill bit, stick it in there, it's almost the same. That's what's venting off. So the best part, sorry it's taking 30 minutes to explain this. For anybody else that's going to see it, I'll see about putting a timestamp. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to rotate this back to standard mode. Your standard regular gas setting. Alright? See the ball is lined up with a little bitty divot. And that hole's open. Alright. This becomes your mod part. So, for those that are saying, somebody put it in the comments, at 28 minutes we're going to explain this, sorry. With your can on the gun, and you shoot it, and it doesn't want to cycle, it's having issues. Make it safe, and then what you're going to do is you're going to need to drill right here. We're not going to enlarge the actual housing, we're just going to enlarge the actual gas plug hole. There's an easy way to do this and a hard way to do it. If you want real easy and you're competent, you don't have to take this out. You can leave it right in here and you can start drilling down. Now that plug is hard and chromed. It is very, very hard. So you're going to need a brand new, very good drill bit. And when I say very good, I'm talking like go buy the really, really good drill bits. Don't go get little cheapy Harbor Freight drill bits. Like get a good diamond coated, cryogenic hardened drill bit. Like get a pro drill bit because you're going to wear it out. You can start to enlarge that hole. That hole starts off just under 5/64. You're going to want to take it somewhere between the 5/64 range up to a 3/32. What you're going to have to do is you're going to make those very, very minor increment moves in that range. Okay. Granted, I'm going to use this for a theory. It's not a hard number, so very much not a hard number. Let's just say that the original hole in this is like 0.8 of a millimeter. You're going to take it up to 0.9 of a millimeter, and then you're going to test your gun again. You're going to shoot with your suppressor and see how it functions. If it gets, it's going to get better. If it's acceptable, stop. If you want, it's still not working 100%, it's not 100% reliable, we're going to step up to 1 millimeter. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to make these very, very precise and micro jumps in drilling your standard gas. There's a reason to drill your standard gas. And I'm going to explain that too, because somebody's going to yell about the why you're doing that, not adverse. The reason you're going to drill this one and you're going to size your standard gas is once you get it tuned, this is still going to work as standard gas on your gun. The gun's going to function even without the suppressor. When you need it, you can switch to adverse, and you're going to get more gas for dirty conditions. You'll never lose that problem. Guaranteed always to make the gun work. You're not going to lose that. So, on my particular barrel, find my notes, I went and I drilled this, and like I told you, these holes they're 764 of a diameter. I went to 3/32, and I'm going to pull out my gas plug, and I'm going to show you. So, I'm going to remove it. Alright. When you remove this, so you understand, because you're going to see a whole bunch of holes in here and you're going to get lost. When you take it out, make sure, I'm going to do this here on camera. You're going to pull it up just past. You're going to rotate until that ball finds where it's supposed to be. And you see that they're lined up? That's great, right? So we know it's that hole. So you're guaranteed it when you take this out. I recommend take out your gas plug. We know it's this hole, and we're not going to lose it. And then we're going to stay up here, and then we're going to drill it. And I'm going to try to show you guys. You can see that one's drilled. It's not the best one, but that hole has been enlarged from basically like that itty bitty tiny hole. When you drill this, we're not going to go through the gas suppressor, this plug or anything. All we're doing is enlarging that singular hole. One thing that you're going to need to do is after you drill it, you're going to create some burrs on here. You're going to make sure that you're going to want to scuff those off and make sure that this is nice and perfectly smooth again, that when the drill bit ran down and it pulled the metal back up to the top, it's going to make you're going to feel it with your thumbnail. It's going to hang up. You need to make sure those burrs are knocked off. If not, it's not going to want to go into the housing, and it's just not going to go back and forth the way it was originally. But that, in a nutshell, enlarging this hole will tune this factory standard gas plug to your barrel, your recoil guide rod system, and the can that you own that you are dedicating to put on this gun to use. Now, the main thing with this mod is, like I said, it's going to work for that can. If you put a different can on the gun, it's going to have different pressures. It's not going to be universally accepted. It may be close. You may get away with 4 or 5 different cans, or it may not want to work with anything else but that one that you tuned it for. So that is how you tune a non-suppressor gas plug to your system. You just have to be very, very precise and take your time. I really, really recommend to somebody that wants to do this mod that I have to light my cigar again. When you do this, do not be in a rush. This will take a day. I mean, you are not going to do this in like 5 minutes, not unless you're, sitting as a gunsmith, and you have that particular suppressor, brand new, it's never been fired, and like you figured it out before. This is going to take some time to do. I think I spent about the first drill bit through this, the first time I tuned and messed with it, took it like an hour and a half to drill it, sand it, function it, and then go shoot it to get it where I liked it for my suppressor, for my host. And that's how I'm getting away with it. So, that will work. You can, if you happen to get in a parts kit, an extra regular, standard suppressor or standard gas plug, you'll have a spare. And those are actually readily available. They're all over the place. I think most like the Malaysia kits, if you're that hard up for it, or people that buy them trying to think that they're going to use those kits for spare parts and stuff, that's one part that just doesn't really wear out. You can get one, but you can probably get a regular suppressor gas plug for $20-$30. Just they're out there. So 1 second. So, when you're messing with it, I'm going to get these numbers out again. You guys, somebody put it in the system at like 35 minutes and 30 seconds. The range that I have found from minimum to maximum, you're going to start at 564 and you're going to go to 330 seconds. That was a range that's, once you go past that 330 seconds, you're going to be at 764 diameter. At that point, you have oversized the hole. You are going to turn it into a bolt action, basically grenade setting. So if you go to 7/64ths of an inch, I don't have the metric conversion because I'm not that intelligent. I'd have to Google whatever the conversion is. If you go to 7/64 of an inch and you over drill this, you'll basically turn your standard, I've rotated this into the GR setting, you will literally turn that into another grenade setting. And you will have a giant bolt action rifle, which is uncool. And you wasted a lot of time. So, that's how big that hole is right there. Opened up, that's the grenade mode, and that's the exact size of the actual housing here on the rifle. So you do not want to do that. It will be bad, and won't be able to help you at all. There's been people that have tried welding these up. Those that weld them up, don't. You literally will have to weld the whole freaking thing up. You will have to figure out where the actual hole in the barrel is located inside the chamber, and you have to re-drill it, and have to re-drill out here, and it just makes it a horrible mess. And anybody that understands structural engineering, when you weld two metals together, that seam point where the weld's at is stronger than the two pieces of metal. Just for a quick reference, guys, that's what I used to do in a previous trade. If you take like 70-11 welding rod, that's 70,000 pound per inch, and you're using it like on 50,000 pound per inch steel. So there's a 20,000 pound stronger piece of metal that you have just bonded together, and if you try to drill into it, it will be a horrible experience, burning out drill bits trying to cut through that harder metal. So don't go in here trying to weld up your plug and modify and do it that way. It's pointless, and it's a horrible idea. And I've seen one or two people try it. So there's the talk about, one, I told you where to go find for your thread pattern. Figured out if you're doing QD mount or if you're doing direct thread. I've explained to you on how to figure out what your gas settings are, how to do the mod, and like I told you, and like I tell a lot of people, and I'm making this quite specific. You are modifying your gun, your barrel, your whole system to your suppressor. It is a marriage between the two, and you have to find out which one wants more, which one wants less, and you get them together and you get them to work. Is this a perfect solution? Is this going to be an end-all and nobody's ever going to need a gas suppressor plug? No. This is, for those of us that can't wait, that want to have it, that want to play with it, tweak it, tune it, this is an option for you guys. So, there you go with that. Trying to think. I'm trying to help out. Those of you that have 20-inch barrels, this might happen faster or sooner for the extra length, but for the most part, always remember that it's from the insertion point at the breech to this gas here that makes the cycle happen. What goes from here out to the front is what is lost in speed and velocity for your bullet going downrange. So if you do want to modify like a 20 or 24-inch barrel, and you don't have the plug, or you take your plug and stick it over that way, basically worst case scenario is you're going to lose some velocity off of your round from this point moving forward. You're not going to hurt anything from here backwards. Trying to think of some other ones. Oh, I did see somebody in this one. This was going to drive me nuts, and for any of you guys that have done it, please, I'm telling you right now, you want to destroy a barrel and you want to get someone mad, do not stick this freaking barrel in a vise, in a metal vise, clamp on this gas section to take off this muzzle brake. I've put out videos. Just email or call me. I will explain this. I have told everybody repeatedly, you have to heat the original tulip and burn out the Loctite before you take this off. And also you have to understand what thread pattern you have, because if not, if you have a metric barrel with a tulip on here, it is left-handed thread. All you're going to do is tighten it, make it tighter and tighter, and you're going to break wrenches. But this has to be heated on the European barrels that had all the Loctite in it. If you guys have ever experienced trying to take one off, it's 400, and the book calls for 482 degrees. You can take a small Bunsen burner torch, or what they call a rose head torch. I prefer using my oven, the glass top range or a coil range, and just roll the barrel, just the tip, just the first 3 inches of this barrel, until you see light smoke, kind of like, I'm assuming you guys can kind of see it here off the camera. I don't know, there might be some smoke coming up. It literally looks like my cigar wafting. It's literally just that, like a small cigarette of smoke will come out. As soon as it gets to that temperature, is 2 19-millimeter wrenches. Sometimes you can use 5/8, but they have to be very, very thin profiled wrenches to get between the check nut and the actual muzzle device to take them off. But God, please guys, take me for my word, guaranteed. Do not stick this barrel in a vise and clamp it around this gas system. You will screw it up and crush it. When these are put on the barrel, they are actually pressed on. I haven't seen one rotate, but I have seen some people crush them and cause issues or dent the barrels. And if you guys want to do a Google search, go try to find an AUG barrel, and you're going to see why I'm adamant about don't do that. Please don't. Like I said, you can email, DM me. I will be more than happy to explain. If you don't have the tools and time to do it, I do it very cheaply. You can literally send me the barrel, and I will have it back out within 24 hours of receiving it. I will install and take off the muzzle device, put your new one on it, time it, whatever you need it to do, have it ready to go. I did have somebody ask, do I use rock set on the actual muzzle devices or even on receivers? Don't use rock set. Blue Loctite is perfectly acceptable. It will work perfectly. You don't need anything more. The system is designed truly to lock on itself. That's the reason that there's the check nut on the back. It's actually a jam nut. That's what it's designed to do. But a little blue Loctite, that's all you need. A little. No rock set. So, there's that. I'll stay here as long as you guys have questions or you want to conversate and BS. I know somebody just asked a question, so give me just a second here to see if I can find it. I want to see it. Here we go. Sorry guys, I'm trying to see here. How are the barrels? Let's see, where's this at? Able to get barrels. I have a question. Okay, 257, you said you got a question related to the gas settings. I will eject brush straight out. Let's see. Sorry guys, I'm bad. I kind of read out loud and I'm trying to catch this and it's trying to go away since I'm on a different camera and I don't have the computer out. Out the back and to the left. Normal setting. We'll check the brush straight. Okay. How do I clean? Alright, 257. I'm going to answer your ejection pattern issue. And how do you clean a barrel gas plug, by the way? Alright, I can answer that. I've seen someone heat it and it is lightly wedged the gas plug. It's not clamped on it. Mike. Yeah, I've seen people heat them and do that. I just please don't. You're actually better off. Once this is heated, it really does take 2 people, or it's better with 2 people. Somebody can actually hold and use the vertical grip here and you can hold the end of the barrel. It won't be hot. You can hold it right down here, or just grab an oven mitt, and literally whoever's holding the wrenches can can take it off. If you're doing it by yourself, what I do is I heat it, then instantly go stick the barrel back into the receiver and sit on it at the end of the couch or end of a chair. Just like literally sit on the flat side of the stock. Barrel sticks right out in front like so, and you can drop a hot muzzle device into your lap or on your foot. So I really recommend to make sure you're quick on your feet, especially if you overturn one. Basically, once you break it free, take the barrel back out and forget about it for about an hour and a half. Just set it over by the sink, stick it outside on the porch, let it just cool off until it's safe to touch, and then unscrew it, and then you're going to see a crap ton. If it's one of the older ones, this whole thing will be all types of powdered and white. So, and somebody's having fun running something over. Sorry, guys. Okay, so gas piston. How do you clean it? 1 second. It's fairly easy. Remember, AUGs are not babies. Like when I say that, like ARs having a tendency of needing to be cleaned every 5,000 rounds or better. Like they just don't like to be dirty. AUGs don't care. It's time for bourbon. So cheers. I have personally shot an AUG that had never been cleaned for 100,000 rounds. I have pictures, I have it on video. I know who owns it. It's actually Steyr themselves. I've shot it with their instructors. I've shot it with their CEOs. The last time I saw that rifle was myself in hand shot it personally with 100,000 rounds through it. Was in 2018. What you guys see a lot of the time, if you're seeing from Steyr on their SA variant AUG and the ones they had like on FTB with James, that is that rifle. They are still shooting it, and as far as I know, it still has not been cleaned. They're trying to see how many rounds it takes to completely gum one up and make it stop working. They have literally not cleaned that gun. They shoot it, they write a new toe tag out for how many rounds went through it, and it goes right back into the armory vault. And it's at 100,000 rounds the last time I personally saw it. So that'll give you an idea. Now, granted, we looked at it. It was really, really nasty, but it was still working. So to clean, 1 second. I'm just not going to get to keep puffing on the cigar and trying to talk. To clean the system, go ahead, pop out your gas plug. The easiest, best thing to do with this, I like a product called Bortec Carbon Remover. It's a black bottle. It's got a chrome-looking logo. It says Bortec. It's got a big hog on it. Buy it off of Amazon. The actual company is called Bortec, but it's Bortec. I think it's called C4 Carbon Remover. It's like $20 or $25 for a bottle. Take that and stick it only, and I say this very, very seriously, if not you're going to have a chemical issue, in a glass cup. Just enough to submerge your gas plug. The stuff's expensive, you don't want to waste it, and it's a one-time use. Like once anything touches it, it's contaminated, you need to dispose of it afterwards. Drop your actual regulator, the actual, this tip piece here, drop it in there, let it sit for half an hour or so. It really doesn't even take that long, but you probably come back in like 15 minutes, take a flat blade screwdriver, kind of slosh it around, or pick up the glass and swirl it like you do a drink, and then let it set. In about 30 minutes, you can literally pull this out, take a Q-tip or a toothbrush, and clean it off, and it's going to look brand new. After that, once it's totally clean, let it sit out and air dry. You take a rag, wipe it off. I just use old wash rags, shop towels. I clean it off, make sure that there's no residue on there, and then literally I put an eye drop or a drop of oil on my finger. I kind of roll my finger back around this, and then that's ready to go back in. Let's see. let me get out a tool here to take out, and I'll show you how to pull out the spring. So on your barrel, on the back side, see right here, see that silver? That's the back side of the actual piston. You'll just need a very, very small screwdriver, a piece of wood. You can do it with a casing head, a live round, and literally we're just gonna push it out, and it pops out. See, pop right here. Now mine's dirty because I've been shooting it, and this is gonna come out, and there's a spring and this gas piston. Do the same thing. Drop this into the Vortec and that carbon remover. Let it sit. Pull it out when it's all shiny. Wipe it off. Clean it off. Literally, like again, just take your finger, a little bit of oil, run it over this. Do not drown it. Just lightly coat it. Inside, take that Q-tip that you've got, that little bit of carbon remover, stick it in there, or I'll actually use like Remington Rim Oil spray can or PB Blaster, and you flush out the internals, take a Q-tip, clean it out, make it clean to your liking, and then reassemble. When this goes back in, give it a little push. See, it's inside. Now the big thing is this head, which I didn't show you real great. I'll kind of show you there. Make sure that's really what you want to be concerned about. Just make sure all the carbon's off of it. Occasionally I take a little green SOS pad, like for doing the dishes, after it's been that carbon remover stuff, and I just kind of lightly scuff it, just to make sure that's all come off, because you'll get a little burn right there. Take your freshly cleaned regulator, stick it back in, push down, put it to the, let's see, stick it back to your gas setting the way you want it, and you're good to go. That's it. On cleaning the barrel, I use a brass cleaner rod, a little bit of oil, the carbon remover or copper remover, a couple strokes, and that's it. I don't even patch my barrels. I just run that bristle rod in there 4 or 5 times and pull it back out, look through it. I don't know if you guys... Here, I'll try to get this over here, really make it... You can see this one. I don't know. This one's been shot. Let's see. It's kind of cool to see it this way. This one's really clean. I don't shoot remand ammo or anything. I shoot all fresh ammo, so I mean it works quite well. You can see up here at the tip, it's had a little bit. Here, do that. There's a little bit of carbon up there, but not much. But I haven't cleaned this one since I put this dead air quick QD on here, and I haven't cleaned the gun. It's been months. I don't know. I've probably got 1,000 rounds, 2,000 rounds right now. That's what you just saw on this one. Shooting suppressed and unsuppressed with it. Let's see how to clean the barrels. What's up with these AUG stocks polymer failures? Okay, guys. I'll catch back up here in these messages, and I'm gonna try to enjoy this. Okay, let's get into these messages. Live chats, here we go. Alright, what's up with all the polymer failures? Okay, that's actually a good one. Sorry, I don't know trying to think of the name. I don't want to know. Don't do that. So, the stock failures. I don't have my stock. I'm gonna say, this is me speaking. Remember, guys, I don't work for Steyr, so nobody get butt hurt about it or anything else. I'm a YouTuber and a gunsmith. The failures I'm gonna say are COVID related. I believe with the quality control issues. I don't know maybe if they're if they got a new supplier for stocks, if they changed out a mole, don't have the manpower. Like, I don't know. It's quality control is what's happened, and there's no debating that side of it. And it's on modern. So if you look at your serial number on your receiver, you're going to look on the right-hand side where that little piece of pick rail is at the 45-degree angle. You're going to see it's going to say a number. It's going to say 20, 21 something. It's going to have 2 digits, and it's going to say USA. 20 and 21, and now the 22s are coming out. It's that time period. So the last technically 2 years. Just look at your receiver, and if you've got a 20, 21, or 22 at this point of going forward in time, says this will be on the internet forever. They're just having a quality control issue. You want to be mindful. Look around where the actual stock receiver lock, the main section where it slides in and out to take apart your stock from the receiver. A lot of them are cracking right there. I did see the one that cracked at the butt pad. You actually saw the 2 the recoil springs come out the back of it. That's actually the first one of those I've seen, and I know it's on Reddit. It was posted. It was a couple other places, but it showed up on Reddit. That was like the most massive failure of one that I've ever seen. I have those seen them. They will crack right behind the trigger, right there at the lock. On mine, it's a QD stud from Gearhead Works, so it's an aluminum lock for the receiver. So your receiver retention lock. They're cracking right there. Is there a color that they're doing it on? I've only seen it on green ones. I don't think color has anything to do with it. But I've seen like 4 in the last 2 years that have done it. So I can't say there's a lot of them. I hear more. I know someone that had it. I don't know if they're seeing the same articles or posts that I have. I've seen 4. The worst one was that last one that you saw the whole back of the butt pad blown out. That was the worst one, and that was here 2022, like in March of 2022. That was like the very worst one I've seen. And if I remember correctly, he was shooting it suppressed, and he was using like M885 ammo. Like he was using a heavy ball ammunition. I mean, granted, it broke no matter what, but there was more circumstances, I think, of why that one failed or why it failed so spectacularly. And I know that was, according to the report or the article written about it, it was like a brand new gun. Like literally, I think they were shooting it within break-in first 500 rounds. That actually happened. But I also did hear that they sent it back to Steyr, and Steyr took total care of it. I mean, they, it broke. They fixed their products. I've never heard of them denying one because a quality control failed. They had a problem. I mean, I always get it about pistols and stuff. You call them, and if it's truly something that they messed up on, I mean, they fix it right there on the spot. I mean, I think, well, I know on one of those stocks, I think they had a new one. I think that man had it by the end of the week, and they didn't even want the old one back. They just said, we're so sorry, send it to us and we'll fix it, or they sent him a new stock. Literally just take his receiver and stick it in the new one, totally ready to go. So hopefully that answers that. Let's see what's up with the stocks. What do I need to do to send the barrel to do this on the flash hider? Okay, Nathan, for you, if you want to send me one, send me an email at TnSteyr@gmail.com or DM me through like Instagram, Facebook. Just contact me. That's the simplest way to do it. Do that. What you'll need to do is I'll need your barrel and whatever muzzle device that you want installed on the end of it or not, and you will UPS it, FedEx it, snail mail, however you want to ship it. I'll take care of it and have it back out to you within 24 hours once I receive it, and depending on all the work you want done, we'll discuss compensation. Sometimes that's nice cigars or a nice bottle of bourbon. Other times, charity to the channel works really well. So hopefully that'll help you. Let's see. Okay, so 257, is Steyr making barrels? Okay, so Steyr, granted, I've been to the plant, God, for years now, here in the United States, basically since they officially opened in 2013. They do have the tooling. The barrels show up, so they're ITAR, they're ATF compliant, like whatever all the rules are for them to make stuff. They show up here, they're put into machines, and they're finished here. So yes, the United States does make. They don't. I shouldn't say they make a barrel. They finish barrels. They basically get this big, like, 4-inch diameter steel tube thing that's ready to go. You know, it's got rifling and stuff in it, and then from there they machine them, they gas nitride them, they install all the parts to a barrel to make it a functional AUG barrel, and that's all done there in Alabama, at Bessemer. They're at the U.S. headquarters. So yes, they are made here. FN does, as far as I understand, FN is no longer making Steyr barrels. Now, you know, maybe some big government contract or something, because FN barrels are actually produced on Steyr tooling. Steyr years ago, and still to this day, the cold hammer forging process, Steyr basically invented that, and they have sold that tooling to multiple companies. But that's the reason that FN made AUG barrels in the past, was for like big contract, big orders, because literally both companies have the same exact machine, and they could, you know, it's a computer program, or back then it was a true gunsmith. You know, a representative from that company went there, and it was just a sister machine. They could work on it at that point. But modern stuff, it's all digital. It's the same. I don't want to call it a CNC machine, but it's the same milling machine. It looks like a giant refrigerator laid on its side, but barrels go into it. It's a mill machine. It's a lathe. It cuts barrels, but that's what the machine looks like. I don't have pictures of it. That's one thing. Steyr has been always really good to me. With the past administration that was there with the company, the Austrians were really nice, but at the USA there was things I wasn't allowed to take pictures of, and you know, their tooling center, I can talk about it, but I don't have any pictures. You know, security clearance stuff. Let's see. Make their own barrels. Or do you think they'll make 300 blackouts for the U.S. market? That's a rabbit hole question. So, 300 blackout does exist. I have shot them. I did that in 2018, 2019. I've shot the gun. I've seen the prototypes. And granted, they were working prototypes. It is just not. Oh, I'm gonna say this, and I can say this with confidence because I physically have touched them. At the time that I messed with a 300 blackout AUG, it is not a barrel, just a barrel swap. It is a complete. It's like this 9mm kit that I have now. It is a caliber conversion kit. It's just not a barrel. Now, in 2019 at SHOT Show, the previous CEO of Steyr Arms for USA, Scott O'Brien, was a wonderful dude. I mean, you talk about someone that treated me awesome from Steyr for here for the States. I mean, that man was. I mean, he helped me get a ton of stuff, and education was so welcoming for the Steyr community. I mean, that literally, I mean, that CEO would literally take sale phone calls, meet with anybody, and just answer questions. When I first met him the first 2 times, I didn't know he was the CEO. He just introduced himself as, you know, Mr. O'Brien. You know, he walked up and said, "Hey, I'm Scott. You know, I'm O'Brien." I didn't know he was the freaking CEO. I didn't know he was the head guy in the United States, and that blew my mind when it was like, wait, you're number one for the U.S. and you're talking to me at the time, and I found that amazing. So when I talked to him in 2019, that was probably a couple months before I demoed, so it was early 2019 when I played with that gun. They were supposed, and he said at that time, they were supposed to be out within a year in the U.S. market. Now, he left the company. They had a change of management here in the United States, and Steyr did this really weird transitional period, and we're still waiting. I don't know where it's at. I've seen the gun. I've seen it in Europe. I haven't physically, personally seen it. I've seen pictures. The Austrians have sent pictures. I've seen that. I've seen the 40 caliber AUG, and I did it again. I've seen a couple of different variants, like SF variants and stuff. They're in Europe. I need to make a video and explain the way I understand Steyr to work and like what was inferred to me with the company on how those things come about. But I don't know. There's some stuff I know about that's coming out with Steyr. One of it was just, I actually put a picture of it up the other day about the new MFs that are coming out, the Bitone or Bitones, I'll say that. Be on the lookout. I don't know. I don't know what their market game plan is with this new administration, the new people that are running the U.S. The communication for me is lacking. I don't get a whole lot. They have their own social media personnel, people, way of doing stuff. A lot's changed in the last 24 months, so it's been a little different from the way it was, and they're a lot more closed lip about stuff. They kind of release stuff and do it, and they have their own way. If you like their memes, if you like what their social media stuff is, how they were doing it, I mean, you can, if you go back and look over like the last 24, 36 months of Steyr, you can see that point shift in the culture. So I know it's a long-winded way of saying I don't know, but the gun's been built. I just don't know how quick they're going to get it here to the market. Are they doing a big massive build-up so they've got product? I mean, that was the issue with the MF, was they got it. It's sold completely out in all their government contracts and the other countries, and that's what took a year for them to get produced, and then COVID has just not helped. I mean, I personally think it's an excuse, but at the same time, it screwed up the market. And then you put politics on top of it, and I mean, there's been more digging and more kicking dirt back into the hole here recently, but that's everybody in the market. I mean, hell, try to buy ammo, and like, they can't make it fast enough, and it just disappears, and they're making 10 times the ammo they did before. So we'll have to wait and see. So like on the Blackout, it's basically a caliber conversion kit. The one that I messed with granted, and remember, this was a prototype. This was one of like 3 that they had. It was basically a brand new AUG. It used the same stock as what we have here in the United States. So the SA, I mean, you could use any generation stock that we have here in the States. You know, everything from the original STG 77. You could use the A1, A2. You could use any of the. You could use the A3, the A3M1. Didn't matter. You were using the stock and the fire control trigger pack. After that, the receiver, the barrel. I'll take that back. They used the same magazine, and I only shot it in a standard waffle mag. It was basically a barrel and a receiver and a new bolt carrier group. Was the one that I saw and everything. So it just wasn't a barrel. Kind of been a pet peeve, but at the same time, I mean, maybe they've made an improvement. Maybe they did something different. They modified it or changed it. The way I explain it to people and the way that I understand it is, think about it this way. When you take an AR and you convert from 5.56 to 458 SILCOM to 300 Blackout, what do? You take the whole upper receiver, which is a bolt carrier group, the housing and the barrel, the gas system, like all of that comes off. You use your lower. You're basically using your, lower receiver portion and your trigger and your buffer tube. Everything else gets changed. Well, now take that same idea now of how you convert an AR and think of how the AUG is built. What would you have to change? You'd have to pull the receiver and pull the barrel and the bolt carrier group out. What are you left with? You're left with a stock, a trigger pack, and a magazine. Caliber conversion, swap it. This 9mm, and granted the 9mm kit's old. They came out in the 90s. That is a barrel, a bolt carrier group, and a magazine adapter, and a new magazine. You can make it work with the modern stocks, but it actually came with its own stock. You actually swapped over your trigger pack and your receiver. Those were the two parts you needed from an AUG, was a receiver and a trigger pack. Everything else was a conversion kit. So I kind of expect it to be like that. I'm hoping you can use your same receiver. To me, it make more sense to do that. But I'd totally be down if it's just a new bolt carrier group, a barrel, and that's all you need for the 300 blackout. Now, that would make sense. Let's see what they do. I mean, because your gas system is inside the barrel, that's taken care of, and we already know the barrel has to be enlarged. It's just not like you can take a 5.56 barrel and bore it out. The pressures would be wrong, the hardening of the metal, you're just not going to oversize 5.56 into 300. I don't think that would be safe at all. I think you might blow it up in your face. It looks like I got questions answered. Hopefully that gives you insight. If you go over to Instagram, you can actually find pictures of the 300 blackout. You can actually see the 40 caliber AUG that was built for South America. Just look at their trade show pictures and event pictures. Just look at the guns in the background. There was one I posted up asking the question hey, I think I see a 9mm or the 40 kit, and off to the side was this completely, and it was not a trainer, I can tell you that, but there was a completely blue, this indigo blue, almost like Richard Petty blue looking AUG up in a corner. And if you look at it, it's actually kind of oversized. It's a little fat in areas. It's something different. It's for a different market from where it's at. I've told people, and how I originally got invited to kind of tour and get to be in the know a little bit with Steyr was I sent them emails for years. Every month or two, I'd send them an email or I'd call and ask about certain things. It's like how I become an armorer. I probably pestered them for 2 years about who did I have to pay. I'd pay someone's day wage, or come on a weekend. I'd pay someone's time to be to learn how to be an armorer. How to take the gun down the way that they intended. Not you can only read so much from the implied book, but I wanted to know that, and they finally offered the armory school there for a couple years, and gave that to everybody. So write them a nice email and just explain to them. It's really simple. I mean, if you've got numbers let's just say 20 people with AUGs, or your local hunting group or shooting community, would buy it. I mean, tell them, let them know. You can tell USA, and USA knows it. But I would forward it. Directly to Austria and tell them, not so much what a mistake it is not to have that stuff here, but geez, look at how massive the U.S. market is. I can tell you right now, if they offered a 9mm, a 40, and the 300 blackout AUG, I'd tell them right now, what do I need to do to own all three? Put me on the list. Get me in line for them, because I want them. I don't care if they're caliber conversion kits or completely a new gun. It would be fine. Preferably, I'd even want it to be a new gun, just so I could have multiples. And I wouldn't have to, swap them and pick which one I wanted to play with. Ain't nothing cooler than having 2 or 3 on the table and just go between them. But I think most people would agree. to, you know, yeah, they're expensive. Everything's expensive today, but, you know, you want, you know, would you buy a 40, you know, a 40 cal, you know, AUG? Yeah, if you look at the pictures of it, I'd buy one, because that one you could, because those are particularly direct blowback. You could have the barrels rechambered. You could change it to like 357 sig, or like maybe 10 millimeter, very easily. I mean, those are so close you can just do that. That would be freaking awesome. Have 357 sig, 10 millimeter, and 40 caliber capable, basically out of the same platform. That would be awesome. Granted, I'm not a big 300 blackout fan, but you make me an AUG and 300 blackout, I'll go buy ammo. I'll buy one. I would really like to have one in 308, but I know that would totally have to be a new gun. So, well, guys, we've into this. We're having a good live stream, hour and 20 minutes almost. So, I'm gonna sit here. If you guys got some questions, you need me to touch on a different topic, I am going to be working on some videos. I've got this suppressor mod. I'm going to show that in a video. I'll show you what it looks like with a K-can. I'll show you before and afters. I'm just waiting, because suppressors are class 3 stuff. I kind of have to, I'm at the mercy of getting to borrow suppressors. That's the reason that video has taken, or it's been taking so long to get it out there. That's why I wanted to do this kind of live, to explain it. I can get this done easier and in real time. Since it's done, I'll have you a cool video and I'll show you, what the gun looks like when it overcycles to when it cycles correctly. And then I've got some cool video with another YouTuber that we shot yesterday. That we were playing with the 9mm, and I mean, suppressing that 9mm AUG was really cool, and subsonic ammo. So my first experience with subsonic ammo. Not to say I've been cheap to buy it, but I mean, 9mm just works for me. But to shoot subsonics with a suppressor, yeah, I'm gonna have to buy separate ammo just to play with those. Okay, so Thomas, you're asking about the trigger pack from Corvos Defense in Geisley. You want the long or you want the short? The short story, still waiting. The longer one in that one, I will say one of those two companies, it's produced, they have it, they've made it work. It does not pass their, I'm trying to think of the proper word to be polite. It doesn't pass their rigorous quality control safety to sell to people. Though it does work. They have tested, they've played with it about 3 years ago, they got it there, but they just haven't got it that final step for one of those two companies to say yes. And trust me, I talk to Corvos at least once a quarter about parts or new concepts and ideas. I'm on very good terms with them, and I cannot con them into sending me one to at least look at it. I even tried to bribe them at SHOT Show if they'd lose one for me. I mean, heck, I would take a non-working one just as a demo, just to be able to show you guys on the channel. But as of right now, the only company that makes any type of trigger upgrade is Arid Engineering, ARID Engineering. So if you guys see like my red trigger suite that's in my gun and stuff, they are working, and I'm saying like they're that close to having the aluminum available. Right now they've got their working prototype 3D printed parts, and I have been, since August of 2021, I have been running those in every one of my AUGs. I have installed them into at least 10 different AUGs and have not had a single failure once they were installed. I've had a little bit of fitment issue with the prototypes, but that's been between models of AUGs, years they were produced, different colored stocks, actually these newer modern stocks and stuff, but nothing horrible. I've even gave them they've changed some of the design parameters, but I mean I've been super impressed with this new trigger. And if you do the trigger with my AUG tune, I think you'll be quite happy for what's available, what's doable right now. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot about the ejection port issue. Okay, so ejection port. I would ask, do you have a case deflector on your rifle? So, if you do, sorry. If you have a case deflector, look at your case deflector and make sure that it's not angled funny. If you don't, look at about a quarter to half inch behind the ejection port. You're going to see it looks like fingernail digs into your stock, and see how bad they are. When I say bad, I mean you're going to see where the casings have been hitting the stock, and that will tell you if it's hitting low or hitting high. And it's basically probably depends upon your ammo, how much case pressure that you're having, how clean everything that goes into shooting, how clean the ammo is, how much oil's in the gun, your air temperature, the angle that you're holding the rifle. For the most part, AUGs without a case deflector, when they eject, they come out and they kind of hit the stock, and if they're hitting on the case head primer side, they get this weird spin and they'll go out about over your ear, or they'll hit and they kind of fling at like 1 o'clock. They never go straight up. They never go straight down. They always kind of come. All right, so the gun's here. The case comes out. It hits and it'll fling up and out, and then like do a weird spin over your shoulder, or it'll hit and it'll fling and go directly out at 3 o'clock. That's all the ones I've ever seen. If you do any type of inverted for like a red dot system and you rotate the rifle, that will cause issues just due to gravity effect and how much air is getting pushed on top of the gun. I noticed I had some issues the other day when I was rotating using my 45-degree red dot. They were weird. I know they're expensive, but Corvo's case deflectors, you cannot go wrong. Once you put one of those on, you'll instantly get 2 o'clock ejection all day long. I've never had one not do it with that case deflector. Now Arid makes a new case deflector. It is 3D printed, like I said, it's a working prototype. I used it. It was really good. It just didn't like the amount of heat that I was giving the rifle. I may have put it on full auto, and it didn't like that. Being 3D model printed, I had an issue. Sorry guys. It was fun though. But I mean, they do work. And as soon as they get their aluminum one, I'll get you guys a review on it. It works really well. Now, if you want the super redneck way to fix some ejection issue to help with that, go get yourself a piece of 2-inch squared Velcro. Go find where those little fingernail ejection port marks are in your stock, and dead center put that piece of Velcro right there. Preferably the soft side of it. Don't put the hard loops because it hurts in the face. It'll exfoliate your face. Not that that's it, but it'll give you a mark like that. But put that soft piece of 2-inch Velcro right there, and that'll stop your stock from getting dinged up, and it will also catch the round, and it won't have so much velocity on there. You can check out my videos. I mean, if you want to slow one down a little bit, you'll see how the casings come out with and without the case deflector. I mean, there's a couple different videos with different guns. You just kind of slow down the video a little bit, you'll see it. But when that comes out, the Velcro will kind of catch the brass, and one, it's not going to damage the gun. too, when it kind of catches, it'll slow it down. It'll grab it, and then it'll use the forward momentum of the case head itself, so where the projectile came out, it will use that momentum to fling it more over your shoulder for probably what you're looking for. Man, this is not staying lit today. Oh, I saw a question. Just give me a second. Let's see. Probably it. Cool. Steyr USA keeps putting up pics with come here. With side rail extensions, but really don't talk about it. Do you think it's something? Oh yeah. So you're talking about the 45-degree offset for like running more lights or lasers, you know, modern door kicker crap. That rail is actually designed by one of the managers at Steyr. He modified, took an existing product and made it work on one, and they were supposed to, I don't know if he was trying to sell it to Steyr, which is kind of weird since you work for the company and you did R&D research, but I think it was before he worked for the company. I don't know. One of the managers, he built that. That's his, or he was one who showed it to people to copy to build or to give to Steyr. I don't know. You'd have to ask that man that owns it, because him and I don't talk a whole bunch. But I mean, he designed it. He put it on there. All it is an extended Picatinny rail. Midwest Industries actually had one that was M-lock that would go in there, and then you would add your piece of Picatinny rail to it for more rail space. That'll kind of answer the question. You can make a longer Picatinny rail section to forward out there. You can remove that piece of pick rail. There's 2 holes for the receiver that are threaded. I mean, look for universal 1913 Picatinny adapter rails, or M-lock or Chemo or Arco, whatever you want to put in there, and just make sure that the holes line up into the receiver and length that you want. I've seen a bunch of people do different mods for it. The easiest one I've seen is somebody literally took a piece of bar stock aluminum and took their old pick rail off, put it on top, drilled 2 holes, got longer bolts, stuck it in there, and then they mounted everything they wanted to that new rail section. That was done. Biggest thing I will tell you with that, just make sure you don't go past the end of the barrel. If you still want to remove and twist your barrel, you do the quick release to remove it from the receiver if you need to cool it, or if you get a round stuck in the breech. Trying to think of some other cool things that are out there, or hasn't been really any big leaps and bounds since like August last year that I've seen. There's a couple of new optics that are from Steyr. They got their new retro 1.5 donut of death for the A3M1. They've got a new 3 power that instead of having the circle with the crosshairs, it's just like the 1.5 power, but it's in a 3, so you get your donut of death reticle. Those are out there. That's it. I don't know of any. I mean, honestly, guys, I don't know of any. When the A4 is going to ever come, I haven't seen any new product launch or drops or new modifications for the AUG. What I keep seeing are guys that are doing paint and trying to put everything from an AR-15 onto an AUG, and I've just got my own personal quirks about that. Like, it's an AUG, it's not an AR, it's not an AK. You don't need to have, extra 8 pounds worth of junk hanging on that rifle. I like my minimalist design. You know, a light, the red dot, some backup irons, or my actual 3 power and a light. Like, I like simple. You don't need a whole bunch of kit. Now I do get a lot of people that ask me about that extra mag, that plaque tack. I think that's how the company's called. Basically, if you guys have seen my AUG put out there, you see I've got that extra mag hanging off the stock. I am going to talk to a company about getting those produced because the original company that made those stopped making them about 15 years ago, and you can't find one. They were actually built for the F-88 for Australia, and one of you guys happened to actually find that and send it to me, and it was great, and I love it. But I'm going to talk to a company I met at SHOT Show and see if they can reproduce it and fix a couple quirks I've got with it. Basically, make it a little bit smaller and maybe take the stretchy nylon out of it so it doesn't loosen up over time because it stretches. Oh, let's see. Somebody asked. Let's see. Nate, you asked, what do I think about the Ratworks hybrid bolt? Start with okay, so on the Ratworks, not to say that they fixed a problem that wasn't a problem. I do get it. I mean, they built that because they weren't getting parts in, I believe, during the ban. I've seen one. I'm not a believer. I always tell people, because everybody always asks me about what spare parts should they get for an AUG. And granted, like I said earlier in this video, parts are expensive, guns are expensive, tools are expensive, everything. So if money is no option, buy a complete, ready to go spare bolt and buy a bolt rebuild kit. Real simple. If you break a bolt, break an extractor, break the plunger on it, you take it out the gun, you literally drop in the new one, and you're back in business. When you have time, you rebuild one, and then you have a spare, and it's done. Like, it's simple. You use factory tools, you have one. And my time as being an armorer, and my time on the channel that you guys have hopefully known me or seen me, and way beyond that, I have never personally broke one. I have fixed one. I have actually rebuilt one bolt. I won't do another one. That thing was a pain in the butt, and that was actually because the client took a hammer and a pin punch and beat the hell out of it. And it was miserable. I actually had to get a 2-ton press to get the pins out of it. That's why I recommend buy a complete spare, have it sitting off to the side, stick it in the rear of the stock so it's there if you ever need it. After that, I always tell people, make sure you have an extra cage for the bolt, the spring, and a buffer. Just buy a complete kit ready to go. You will break buffers, the spring will wear out, or the cage, if you're going to have a catastrophic failure, the cage will get broke due to wear and tear at some point. Like, that's basically the weakness in the AUG. That cage, that the rotating bolt locks in and out, that's got the 3 fingers on it, it'll get out of time, it'll hit one, and you're going to jam around into it, it's going to bend that cage, and it'll get a hairline crack in it. It will happen at some point in the life of the gun. Is that in 500 rounds, or 5,000, or 5 million rounds? I can't tell you when it'll happen. You'll get a bad round, you'll get a bad day, you'll get a gun that's been through 3 generations of owners, and it finally wore out, and that will cause the main issue for that. Like I said, I don't have the Ratworks. I don't run one. I probably won't run one, but if it works for you, go for it. I mean, if you want to rebuild it with AR components, which isn't really a bad idea. I mean, they're plentiful, so hopefully they would. Oh, let's see. Somebody else asked. Thomas, firearms. I put a video from Europe. IW. They had a gate lock suppressor for the rifle. Do you think if it will do? Okay, that is actually from B&T, and I talked to them at SHOT Show, and I actually have the numbers to that suppressor. And what it does is it goes over and locks on to the tulip and the nut. That way, that clamp for like the B&T suppressors. I have the make, model, number, their internal number for it. They told me that they should be able, if I reached out to them to contact them in their USA office, that they should have that here in the United States, but they would have to check. And I just haven't done anything with it. I mean, I have the information. If you want it, I'll be more than happy to tell you what the numbers are. Just message me, email, reach out to a DM or text message. I'll be more than happy to share the info. I just haven't decided to buy a B&T. I've never shot their suppressors, and I don't know anybody that has them. So I can't speak if they're good, bad, or indifferent. Granted, I mean, if the one that Steyr always has in Europe that says Steyr on there, I told Steyr years ago, like, if I can get that in the United States, I'd buy one because it's got the Steyr stamp on it. I'll play fanboy. Especially the way it mounts, just lock it and go. But it's B&T. They have. I'm 99% sure when I talked to them at SHOT, they're like, I showed them a picture and they said, oh, it's this model number, and they were quite polite in giving me the info for it. Well, guys, this has been a good live stream. It's actually stayed up. We haven't had issues, and we're about an hour, almost an hour and 40 minutes into it. So I believe I'm going to call it here probably the next 5 minutes or so. So I don't think we're going to let this go over about 1:45. So any final questions, go ahead and get them posted up, and I'm going to kind of keep them short. I'll be direct with them, or I'll follow up on a personal one-to-one. I will say for the channel, I believe it was Friday or Saturday morning, we're over the 2,400 mark, so thank you all. The channel's growing. Sometimes it's in giant leaps and bounds. I've seen 100, 150 people join or get told about the channel, so I really do appreciate that. I mean, yes, I'm here to make videos and do other stuff, but I hope I'm the different YouTuber that actually maybe sets a new bar, that answers, I'm here. You guys can find me and ask questions. I try to really answer everybody and take phone calls at weird hours, and we'll help you on this one. From a good friend of the channel, I will be moving on into other things, probably a little bit more heavier into the upcoming future. So I'm looking about doing some different brands, but when I start doing those, I'll have the same knowledge base that I have now about Steyr stuff on the things that I like. If you guys watch the channel, you totally see that I buy my own products. 90% of stuff I own it. It's not a product hacking channel. I'm not trying to tell buy this, buy 4 payments or whatever. I do stuff that I like, that I spend my own money on. Let's see. How much more velocity you get by shooting on grenade setting? Does it increase performance? I cannot answer that. I have not put a meter on it. Tell you what, I will throw that on my media board for my next range day. I will put my chronograph out, and I'll find out, because I don't know. I can tell you when you shoot it sounds a lot different. You definitely know, like, I don't want to say you feel like something goes wrong, but you can tell something's not normal. So, more on the find of when you pull the trigger again, it just doesn't work. Does grenade work well suppressed in subsonics? I have not shot any subsonic ammo suppressed, or even through any of the ones that I own or that are here on the channel. Like I said earlier, I shoot one type of ammo. I shoot the stuff that I buy, but a lot of ball and standard. I'm working towards, because I'm playing more and more with suppressors. It's another question. I don't have a wide enough variance for you to say yes or no. I will tell you though, in subsonic for the 9mm kit, can back pressure for even on a direct blowback, it did not. One can with subsonic ammunition, it did not like it. If you went a little too fast or just didn't give it time to the cycle, it did not like the gas pressure system. We changed out, went to a Wolfman, and it ran flawlessly. Like, you guys, I'm gonna be putting out a short video here pretty quick. You guys will see this thing running, and it ran nice and slick. So that's about the only one, but that's in a 9mm kit. Oh. Alright guys, well, I've got range days set up. I will be doing some ELR and PRS shooting here over probably the next 90 days. So I will be traveling, and I'm going to use this last like 3 minutes to kind of end out the video for it. So if you guys got any questions or anything else, if you're typing, kind of save it. You just toss it in the regular comment section, and I'll get back to you. I'll answer on the normal comments of the live. But I will be traveling west out to Kansas. I'll be coming from the Nashville-ish area, heading out to basically Kansas City here in the next 90 days. And in the next 90 to 120 days, I'll be heading from Nashville to the Waco, Texas area for some big rifle competitions and shooting, and I hope to not embarrass myself. Good luck, because I'm a 308 guy. I take 308 and do stupid stuff like trying to take it a mile, which I have done. I just want to see if I can go a little further, and I want to see if I can still just be as accurate at those distances. But I'm going to compete and some ELR events. King of 1 Mile is here in the United States this year, and I am going to put my name into the hat. So I'm got a couple people that are helping me with that, and hopefully we will have everything ready to go. And I'll show you some cool kit and pieces I've got for the big Vulcan SSG-08 that I shoot. And if you're into that type of shooting, precision rifle, that'll be happening. And I am setting it up for mid-August. Don't hold me 100% to it, but I think it's August the 13th, annual range day number 4. Nashville, Tennessee at Royal Range. If you guys are on I-40, it is exit 196. It is on the north side of the road. It is a giant facility that used to be a movie theater. Can't miss it. Big American flag, a bunch of neon lights, says Royal Range USA. It's where we've had the event for the last 3 years. It is a free event. All you got to do is show up. If you want to play with the toys, anything I've got on the table, any of the companies that show up that bring product, all you got to do is buy ammo at the event, and you get to go shoot. It's as simple as that. And if you guys, for those that have been before, we do a ton of giveaways. Like, we've averaged a giveaway like every 30 minutes for a 6-hour event. And it's not just little cheap, $20 stuff. We're giving away Fix-It Sticks, Arid Precision or AUG Suites, Defiance Munitions Ammo, Enforce Lights, Range Passes. This last year, thanks to Dead Air Silencer or Suppressor Company, we gave away 2 suppressors for free. Just had to do the paperwork and the tax stamp, and they got to pick out the Sandman series, so they gave that away. So they should be back in house this year. And granted, I don't know what the giveaways are until we start the event. All the companies, when you guys see the poster board, if their name's on that poster, they've got a representative at the event, or they've sent a PR press release and they've given product to give away. So it's a ton of fun. It's a one-day event. Come enjoy Nashville. Come shoot for the day. See that beautiful range. Ask me questions. Talk to me. Meet me in person. I'm hoping this year we'll have some new shirts if you guys are interested. I'm working on it. I know I've said that before in a couple past video. The shirt guy that we had, I had an issue. So starting that process all over again. But hopefully we'll have some new shirts if you guys want one. I need to get some new ones. These are 3 years old now, and my wrong logo. I've upgraded and got a new logo. Same name, just new logo. But working on it. But it'll be a fun day. It's rain, shine, doesn't matter what the weather is, because we're inside the AC, and it's like, guys, it's like half the size of a Walmart. That's nothing but guns and range and all the cool stuff that you want to play with, and the staff is awesome. So check them out. Yeah, even if you don't even come to my event, if you're in Nashville, I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Go to Royal Range USA and go see the crew over there. Tell them I told you to go. Go have a blast. They do bachelor parties, bridal parties. Get in trouble with the spouse, go over there. You'll feel better. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna end this one and say goodbye. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of the day and what's left of the bourbon, and I'm gonna work on a video for you. So hopefully, guys, there'll be a video maybe out a little bit later tonight. It'll be a short, but check out the Instagram page and the Facebook page for latest pictures and stuff. If you're interested in actual articles I write, just type TnSteyr into Google and start looking. You'll see wherever I write articles and the pictures and stuff. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys for making this happen and hanging out. I really hope you enjoy the channel, the information, and the one-on-one. So just let me know how I'm doing. If you want more, want less, or tell me what I should be looking at next. All right, guys. Night. Enjoy your Sunday.